Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. This session focuses on new approaches and goals in teaching pronunciation. I hope and expect this would provide you some insights into the new approaches and goals with reference to the teaching of pronunciation. Well, my dear students, intelligibility in an ELF context is very crucial and very critical. Ever since Jenkins 1998 and 2000 introduced the concept of English as an international language, which later evolved into English as ELF, that is English as a lingua franca, research in EIL and ELF has been shaped by the idea that the gist of teaching and learning of English language should emphasize the ability to communicate with both the native as well as the non-native speakers. Now, when both the native and the non-native speakers are of equal significance when it comes to communication, of course, then the pronunciation goals and approach towards pronunciation also changes. Jenkins 2000 asserts, rather than adhering to one standard norm, be it received pronunciation or general American pronunciation. Received pronunciation is the standard pronunciation that is used in the Great Britain, whereas the general American pronunciation, GA, is another standard variety. So according to Jenkins, instead of taking any of these as a standard norm, teaching and learning of English should not be dedicated to any of these fixed standards. Even in the inner circle only, a specific elite group is considered as norm makers or as models of emulation. So even within these countries, there is a very little number of people who can actually use these standard pronunciation varieties. It is not thus realistic to ask for a choice between English as a foreign language and English as an international language, because our students need both and pronunciation needs to be taught from this perspective. On the practical side, Wells 2005 suggests that the teaching of English pronunciation is an EFL or EIL context should focus on areas which impede communication most, but at the same time, we should not undermine the confidence of the learners. Wells appeals to contrastive analysis or CA as a way to locate areas of difficulty is one of the suggestions. Awareness raising in pronunciation teaching is one of the important aspects. The intelligibility of what is pronounced is more important, and the students need to learn to take the initiative to change this from the standard to intelligible. An example is, if a learner is not able to notice the distinction between E and E sound in beach and in bitch, for example, how do we expect the learner to take the initiative to produce the different vowels? So, though the standards may not be followed, but a clear distinction between various sounds need to be carefully taught. By the same token, if a teacher is ignorant of the some distinctions that exist, he or she cannot make the learners comfortable with that. So these basics of pronunciation are important and significant both for the learner as well as for the teacher. It has been found that phonemic awareness facilitates the learning of new vocabulary items among the learners of English, that is the children who learn English as L1. So in the process of teaching and learning of pronunciation in an ELF context, awareness also means being sensitive to the differences that various varieties offer. What are the differences in the pronunciation of certain vowel sounds? For example, in the Australian and the Canadian and the British and the American varieties, etc. Learners should be made aware of the major differences among the regional varieties, such as a vowel alternation between the RP, that is the received pronunciation of A, and of general American pronunciation, that is A, in words like dance or dance or ask or master or master, etc. So, both the varieties differ in this sense. Self-monitoring in pronunciation learning is one of the major approaches or one of the major perspectives that is taken today. The initial effort to control their speech production may derive from declarative knowledge that is imparted to them by their teachers, but this is necessary and this is important stage. And after that, there has to be some process where self-monitoring of their pronunciation is done by or is carried out by the learners themselves.